girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, if you are watching us on YouTube or Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, Google, and whatever podcast platform you use, please hit that follow and subscribe button so we can continue to bring you conversations like I'm going to bring you today. We are talking with Miss Naomi Grossman. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Now, we just recently got to meet at the Cinema Wasteland here in the Cleveland area, and it was really good to meet you in person and talk with you and pick up, some of your work that is near and dear to your heart, which I got to enjoy, that I want to get into with you. But usually when I have people on for the first time, I like to get a quick background. So originally, what did you want to be when you grew up?
An actress.
Always.
Always. I think for 5 minutes, maybe I considered being an astronaut. But, then they told me there would be math involved. And so I was out. So that made it very easy, very simple.
Yeah, exactly. And then, a little bit, you've got, quite a sense of humor too, as I've, enjoyed watching some of your YouTube skits and watching your, the DVDs I picked up. But, what was, childhood like when you knew that, acting and entertaining was something that, you were going to go for?
My dad was an architect, and we lived in this very cool kind of mid-century modern home that had little, for lack of a better word, well, I think he would probably call them decks, but I called them stages off of each of the rooms. So, again, it's all about perception, right? I'm a born performer, so I saw a stage, but anyone else would think that was called a deck. But yeah, from forever and ever, I would just, I'd be on my stage performing for the, chipmunks and squirrels, and occasionally somebody who might drive by. But it's kind of who I am. I was just born this way. I kind of often joke it's almost like akin to being gay. I've tried to pray the actor away, but it doesn't work. This is who I am. It's part of my personality. I'm the number 7 on the Enneagram. I'm a performer through and through, and it just is what it is. I'm very lucky that, I now have an audience that is not, just squirrels and chipmunks. I'm really thankful to have you and others watching. But honestly, it wouldn't even stop me. I would probably still be performing even without an audience.
And was there somebody in particular that caught your attention when you were little that inspired this in you?
Well, I was very lucky in that, I mentioned my dad was an architect, so, he's an artist. My mom's a pianist. So I think they always sort of understood what it was to have kind of an artistic calling. And so the fact that I was always very, very creative from a young age, I think they were all about sort of fostering that and whatever it is that I wanted to be. But I was also just so clear on what that was. I really didn't give them much choice. Like, it wasn't like, it's not like they were like, oh, let's steer her towards Dr. Lawyer. Like, Dr. Lawyer wasn't even on the table, you know? So
No.
I didn't give them a whole lot of choice. I think, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is my parents were both very, very, supportive in my endeavors, but also because of that, I think they were really good about, you know, driving me to acting class and when I wanted an agent and wanted to work in film and television and commercials locally, they made sure I found the best resources to do that. So yes, there were absolutely people along the way. There was my acting coach, my very first acting coach in Denver, Colorado, to this day, I'm still in touch with. But that was, again, I mean, and I'll give him a shout out. Not that anyone's necessarily listening or watching that is looking for an acting coach in Denver, but you never know. His name is Paul Rohr. To this day, he's, he was definitely very influential, as were many other teachers. I was involved with a little children's theater company called Kid Skits. To this day, the kids that I did Kid Skits with are still at it. Like, you know, my friend Vargas Mason is up at the Comedy Store, killing it every Friday night. He does voices for Pixar and Netflix and you name it. My bestie Marcus Folmar he's literally pulled over every single sitcom star on television. He's the consummate cop and bailiff on TV. I'm trying to think of some of the others, but I mean, there's like a whole bunch of us who still, to this day, it's like we caught the bug together and we're still at it. So
Nice.
anyway, the point is, yes, there were many, many people along the way, but it's really my folks, I think, that I have to thank for seeing me, acknowledging this desire within me and feeding it.
And then you mentioned, so Denver is where you grew up at then?
Yeah.
And then that was what I was going to ask. Like, so out there as you were growing up in Denver, you found an acting coach, and I mean, were you involved in like school plays and stuff like that? And then
I did anything and everything that was, and actually a lot of this is actually in the third show, which you haven't seen, American Horror Story, but there's a trifecta, and you're just missing that last bit. But, and it's not to say that there won't be a fourth for sure, but for now there's just the three. It's just this third one hasn't been shot yet. We've only just done a run in Los Angeles in June, and we'll pick it up again in New York off Broadway in January. But to answer your question, yes, I did all the things. I did, school plays. I went outside of school. I thought I was a little too cool for school, so I did, regional theater, children's theater. I got myself an agent and did, whatever film and TV was coming through town. Wasn't a lot, but whatever there was, I had my hand in.
And what age was this where you you got the agent?
13, 14, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got my SAG card on my 15th birthday.
Nice.
So yeah. Yeah.
And then when was your, like, I mean, you did a lot of like school performances and what was your first like on film gig that you did, other than, your parents recording your performances?
Right. Of course. I mean, the thing that I was forced to join the union for would have been Father Dowling Mysteries. which is, you were around in the 80s. You remember
Okay.
that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that, like I said, there was very little in Denver, really, but there was Father Dowling, there was Perry Mason, and then of course mostly commercials. But
And this was at 15.
every actor I know, I mean, all those guys I just mentioned, Marcus, Vargas, we were all on Father Dowling. Like, you couldn't be serious about, acting in Colorado in the 80s without having at least an episode.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, as time would go on, bigger gigs. When did you ended up like moving to LA to start work?
So you say bigger gigs, and yes, there were bigger gigs, but not for quite a while. I would say, like I said, getting my SAG card was really a blessing and a curse, because it meant that I was all of a sudden I'd accomplished this hurdle that, many actors come to LA and like have to find a way around, and I didn't have to. Like, it was just sort of handed to me. And yet it did mean that I couldn't really do a whole lot of anything until I came to Los Angeles and was able to work in a bigger market with actual, union opportunities, which there really wasn't where I was before. After school, high school, I took a little bit of a interlude, as you know, to Argentina. That's the theme of the first show.
Yes.
And from there, I actually went to college in Chicago at Northwestern. I did my 4 years there. After 4 winters, I was out of there. I love my time there, but you guys in the Midwest, I don't know how you do it. Like, it's like 60 degrees here right now, and I'm freezing. So it's ridiculous. But
yeah, it was 60 here today, and I was out in shorts, all excited.
Yeah, exactly. No, I moved to LA as soon as I graduated. My college boyfriend was a PA on Friends, if you remember that show. And that, even though he was essentially getting Jennifer Aniston coffee, that in my mind at the time was like, oh my God, you've made it in Hollywood. So I followed him out here, and of course we broke up immediately, because that's what happens with college relationships, or at least mine, especially when you get to a big city where everyone is more beautiful than the person you're with. Anyway, we that didn't last, but it at least got me all the way out here. Not that I think I was going to get here anyway, but for whatever reason, I think most of the kids that I was friends with, or most kids at Northwestern, are either from the Chicago area or from the East Coast. So it was very common to kind of go east, go to New York, and pursue theater. And so I was kind of one of the odd ducks that went west and went to Los Angeles. I just, again, maybe because I'm from the West, but also I don't know. I just never thought like that whole starving artist mystique had much mystique. Like, I'm not trying to starve. I'm actually trying to eat if I can. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was like, no. I'm going to the warm weather, and I'm going to, I'm going to get fed. So, anyway, I came out here, and yeah, I mean, it was eventually some, bigger TV shows came around, but that didn't come right away. It was definitely like it was a hustle. And again, that's what a lot of this third show is all about.
Well, I guess I watched them out of order then, because you're saying in Argentine Landscape was the first.
Yes.
And then
so
Carnival Knowledge.
You weren't able to tell by the wrinkles in my face?
No, I don't know. I guess I just which one grabbed me first, and I had a thing for love, lust, and other human oddities. So
right. Well, I mean, but you could tell. I mean, Yes, Carnival, A Girl in Argentine Landscape is sort of my coming of age story. It tells the story of me at what age 16, 17, 18, leaving school to go study abroad. Whereas Carnival Knowledge, I've come of age. I'm out there in the world looking for love. Again, this is after
Yeah.
friends dump me. Yeah, I think it's a little more mature of a story.
Yeah.
The first is quite innocent. It's quite, I have my first fellatio. Whereas so you don't have to be a rocket scientist to kind of figure out with the order. But
Yeah, I mean, after I watched, the second one, I was like, okay, I got that the story you were telling was, when you were younger and everything, but I guess I should have asked you, like, if because I didn't know it was going to be a trilogy, and that you have another one out now. But
the beauty of it is you don't have to watch them in order per se. I mean, that's the order in which the stories go. That's the order in which they were produced. This third one, you don't need to have watched the first two. I think you will probably get, special satisfaction out of the third, having seen the first two. But yeah, and I mean this third one, it takes us up to present day. Like, we get to meet me, post Pepper, from American Horror Story. But it also starts with me in first grade. So, which is something we didn't see in the other two. It's my history of hustling. It's sort of, it takes me from, like I said, from a very young age, hustling to now.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the ones I have seen so far, because, I mean, part of that hustle, I guess, is, you put together your own little entertainment group to put these out, right? Or you partnered
There
with
you go. Yes.
So, like, is Red Meat Entertainment your specific? That's you. All right.
Me. That's just me. It's
okay.
It's confusing. Like, I have to. People are like looking for the LLC, and I'm like, it's nothing. It's literally a name I gave it because it looked. It looks more real if there's it doesn't say Naomi Grossman.
But you were, so you and we'll talk about the stories that you're telling here. But as you mentioned, you move out to LA, you're trying to get gigs, but obviously you're networking with a crew of people in the industry. You had somebody film this for you. You had somebody doing the lights and all that. So what was it like, networking and putting these friendships together, being, a stranger in that area?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to figure, I moved out here in 97. The first one I produced in 2002. So that was 5 years worth of, relationships. And then the second one was in 2009. So at that point, you're looking at 12 years worth of, relationships. A lot of, I think, because I went to a pretty competitive theater school, where there were a lot of people, wanting to pursue entertainment professionally. I think I was networking as early as college without even realizing it. Little did I know those kids, I don't know, Seth Meyers, who was just a year ahead of me in school, or Zach Braff, who was my year, or I don't know, Zoe Deschanel, who dropped out right after I graduated. Like, these are all people that, like, I was in school with. So anyway, the point is, I think, I know people who often joke let's say they went to University of Southern California or UCLA, and they always say, man, I wish I'd gone to college at Northwestern. I'd know someone in Hollywood. And it's just sort of the joke is like, even the local schools, they still don't have quite the like mafia that we have. And it's true. We really kind of like take care of our own. And I mean, man, I had an audition just the other day where I had to dress as a ski bunny. And so, I wore my Northwestern hat because like,
yeah, send that message.
You never know. Like, what if the client or the casting went to NU? I'm in luck. Of course, they could have gone to Michigan or Penn State, and then I'm out of luck. But I'm willing to take that chance. But I guess I say all this to say that, like, it's not like I just showed up here with some suitcases and like, okay, who wants to shoot a one-woman show? Like I was forming those relationships all along. In fact, that first show, The Girl in Argentine Landscape, came to be because my dear friend Sharif Atkins, who you may remember from, his first really big credit was ER. He was like the hot young black doctor on ER. It was like the intern under George Clooney. He was, found great success quite quickly out of school, came to the show and said, man, this is great. You got to get some casting in here. And I was like, well, easy for you to say, Mr. Hollywood, Mr. like fancy new intern on ER. I was like, I'm killing myself to get casting in here. Are you kidding? And that's when he pulled out his checkbook, because that's how we paid people at the time, and wrote me a check for $3,000, which again, in 2002 was a lot of money, way more than I'd ever seen at the time. And so he handed me this check, and with it, I hired somebody to light me, someone to stick a lavalier on me, and someone to edit it all. And sure enough, so that's what you're seeing. That was created basically because of this, very dear friendship I fostered back from college.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so, and as you were explaining that, I mean, you were telling your life story then. That was really, all that stuff was pretty much, you went through, and you're up there sharing your experiences. So, I wasn't sure like how much was just like, tongue in cheek and just performing for the audience, and, like a kind of like a stand-up act or something like that. But,
I mean, it's obviously a little more theatrical than stand-up, as you saw, because there's not like this pressure to be funny. Like it's primarily comedic, but it's also thoughtful and thought-provoking and sometimes serious. But yes, it is 100% autobiographical.
And I liked
the only thing that is slightly a bit of a fib is when I talk about being from Taos, New Mexico, because of course now you know the truth. I'm from Denver. But honestly, that was just confusing for people. I think, my parents moved to Taos when I left the nest. And so I go home to New Mexico now. Denver, I haven't been to Denver in many years. I have no reason. I have no one there to go back to. So, as I was sort of telling the story, I just found it was kind of confusing to be from like both places. And who cares, right? It's not really important to the story. And so that's why, as I was kind of crafting it, I decided that Taos is a little more interesting. Denver is sort of just like this basic bitch of a city, whereas Taos is kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of quirky, and I think it worked better in the storytelling.
Denver's got that wicked airport though too, so
in a good way.
It's interesting. I've been through there.
Ugh.
But so you introduced. with that story, you welcome people into you call it the museum of your mind.
Yeah.
And you're giving the tour and telling your story, basically kind of how you just been telling me your story too, about always performing and stepping on the deck stage and stuff. And it was just like you were battling like what kind of like the world kind of wants to mold you into this normal whatever, but who wants to be normal? There's no fun in that, you know? And you embrace, I think, as you said, like embrace your inner fucking dork. And as you were out there, you developed this alter ego, Carmen.
Mhm.
And let's talk a little bit about your time there and, you know, what kind of led you to, you know, embrace that alter ego.
Well, let's face it. I embraced the alter ego. It was only until when I was writing the story that I realized that it was an alter ego.
Okay.
I mean, I went to Argentina as this, you know, very kind of, I don't know, rule abiding, straight A, type A, go-getter. And I got there, and it was the first time I ever even thought to, you know, skip school. Or, you know what I mean? That wasn't even in my zeitgeist. But, you know, it was like a whole new world. And I mean, it wasn't skipping school when like the teachers were on strike and there was no school. You know, it was like I was all of a sudden I was in this whole new place with a whole new language and a whole new, you know, set of rules and MO. And so, you know, I think Carmen was a product of that. Like I learned, like, you know, you can go out at night until 6 a.m. and like nothing's gonna happen to you. Like I think something would have happened to me had I done that, if I tried that in Colorado. But you know, all of a sudden I'm in this like place where like that's what you do. That like when else are you supposed to go to the nightclub? Like, but between 2 and 6 a.m, you know what I mean? At 17 years old, which again, that was very foreign to me. You know, traveling the way I did, from, you know, all the way down to like the southernmost city in the world, you know, braving soccer matches. I mean, this is, like I said, it was just for someone who lived a relatively sort of sheltered existence. This was like it was a real eye opener. And so, yeah, I think that's Carmen Mercedes, my alter ego, just sort of was born out of that. And it wasn't until I kind of came back to the US and to a curfew and to, you know, all these kinds of rules. And I realized, you know, you can never go home, they say. Yeah. But yeah.
Now what originally, I forget what originally led you down there?
Well, it was part of my overachieving. I think I'd you know, I'd already accomplished like everything else in the yearbook. I was already the star of every play. I was already the president of all the clubs. I'd really kind of taken over, and I was over it. Like I just I'd heard about this opportunity to be an exchange student, and that was not only yet another, you know, credit in my cap, but it was a way to kind of get out. I think I felt really just, you know, I was definitely not one of those people who say, "Oh, high school, best years of my life." I was like, no, high school was like the worst. It's like, it has to get better from here. And it did, of course.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, you know, Carmen's was always inside you, and you got to actually let loose like a butterfly, you know, kind of coming out of a cocoon down there.
That's exactly right. I often joke it's like a metamorphosis. Like, yeah, I think I was probably always this like wild child. I just wouldn't allow myself to, I was definitely very concerned about the way that would look and what people would think. And when all of a sudden, when I was in this new place where people didn't know me and weren't thinking about me, all of a sudden I had all this sort of freedom.
Yeah, and what better place than for your first full-fledged fellatio with Fabio or whatever down there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
although that sort of ruined me for quite a while. I think I came home expecting everyone, that's really where I feel like I kind of discovered boys. And then to come home where they don't all look like Fabio, believe me. I was kind of like, oh. People think I'm so shallow, and I'm like, sorry,
I mean, we all kind of are in a way, I guess. I mean, now dating apps are either like swipe left or right. You don't even really read the profiles anymore. We're all visual people.
I need a dating app that's like exclusively for like Argentinians.
Yeah, there you go.
Like very specific.
So yeah, so then basically like your inner Carmen was able to come out. You got to find more of yourself there, and then you said you came back to the States, and obviously the choices aren't up to par around here, but you didn't let yourself go back, right? You pretty much were still developing and growing who you are from there.
Yeah, I did actually. Right after college, I did go back and, sow my wild oats, quote unquote. I think I wasn't done with it there. I was still kind of holding on. Like, I feel like I started like every conversation in college with, well, in Argentina, and I was just like the most annoying girl ever. And so I needed to kind of like get it out of my system. I went there again, and that's when I really actually kind of considered staying. And actually, that's another sort of artistic license I took while I was like with that show. You recall at the end, my host mother says, Naomi, go home. And the fact is, she didn't actually say that, by the way. It sounds like I was like ousted from the country. But I think it wasn't until my second time back that I really, really considered staying. I think when I went that first time, I think I was just, I'm on exchange. I'm here for a year. It wasn't until I returned that I was like, but I could be here for longer. So I think, like I said, I sort of combined those two trips in the one for the shows, for the sake of the show.
Yeah. But I mean, what I was saying is like, you didn't go back to the woman you were when you first got there.
Oh, no, the Naomi, the pre-Carmen. Yeah. No, once Carmen had been released, I think I am this person now. Yeah.
Off to the races. All right. And that's kind of like, I guess, where the Carnival Knowledge story then picks up, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's Carmen through and through,
Yeah. Whack-a-weenies and yeah.
Whacking weenies, exactly.
And then, as you already mentioned, I guess that was the story you were kind of telling then with the Love a Good Freak show, but like trying to find, the dates but nobody compares to, Fabio up here, and,
right.
Yeah. It was like kind of like finding the right ones, like that endless search for, finally trying to find Bigfoot or whatever, capture Bigfoot. We hear the stories that they're out there, but, we just maybe see them on video occasionally, but,
yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think it's not easy out there for anybody anywhere.
No.
But I think, dating in LA is not for the faint of heart. It is definitely there's a lot of, what do they say? Nuts and fruits. There's a lot of freaks. It's kind of a, I mean, like I said before, there's always somebody prettier, so you can't compare in that regard. You're always going to pale in comparison to like that girl or that guy, and yeah, it is such a big city that it's easy to, flake and ghost and do all those things that, people just don't even do in Chicago. Like people there are like good folks. And it's not to say there aren't good folks out here, but it's a lot easier to be an asshole. It's a lot easier to kind of disappear and just into the, millions and millions of others.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I mean, I'm still here in the Cleveland area, getting back into the dating world myself. I was a single dad of 2 daughters, and now they're both in college. So they're like, Dad, it's all right. Go start dating now, And I mean, those dating apps are just like a freak show in themselves, trying to, I miss the old fashioned way of, just like getting out there, meeting someone, having something in common. But I can't imagine, what it's like out there. And, it seems like the land of make-believe, who's legit and where do you find the real, the soul, the energy, where you vibe with,
Well, and I came out here long before those dating apps. And even when they did come about, I've never been a dating app person. I really believe in the stars aligning, and I'm much better like this than I am, swiping, like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't even, like I said, I don't even like being on those, because if it starts with like with filters and everything these days too, it's just like, all right, you're saying you want to be in a relationship and you want like, honesty and, everybody's this and everybody's that, but you're already starting off on the wrong foot with a filter. It's just like, come on, just show me the raw, I want to meet the heart and soul. That's what I want to connect with,
Right. Well, and I've always found like, I don't know, it's usually when I'm like, really don't care, when I'm coming back sweaty from the gym or whatever, like that's when I meet people. Like,
yeah.
It's like, I mean,
I've been
remember
having that same experience myself lately.
Yeah, when I just shaved my head for American Horror Story, that's when I just started turning heads. Women think my hair. No, men don't care. They're not looking at your hair.
Exactly. I mean, I grabbed your DVD because I saw a really nice butt on the cover. So,
Well, that doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. So on both covers, actually, yeah, Carmen has a fantastic ass. But you were telling a little bit more in the story too with the Carnival Knowledge about well, I like the one story with the massage was pretty funny and entertaining. You want to tell a little bit about some of those inspirations behind Carnival Knowledge?
Sure. So, as I said, Carnival Knowledge is sort of, I like to joke that it's like Sex in the City, but different coast, crappier shoes. Like it's that same kind of looking for love in the big city. And, but I've got my own set of my own burger and my own, who's the guy with the Post-it? Oh, I guess that was Burger. My own Mr. Big, the sort of staple of men that we remember from, Sex in the City. I mean, in the course of Carnival Knowledge, I go on the series of 9 dates, or I guess you could call them 9 boyfriends, but they weren't all really bona fide boyfriends. Some were just a date. Some were like an actual relationship. But there's sort of 9 guys in my life.
Or one of them didn't even know, right? Like the yoga guy.
Oh yeah, one of them was literally my yoga teacher and did not even realize that he was like, I was having this completely fictitious, relationship in my mind. The other was like a guy who took me on one date. It was horribly boring. Then for our second date, he instead of inviting me to dinner, he offered to let me cook for him. That was the end of that. Like if it was already boring and now I get to just go straight to like working for you, sir. No, thank you. There was Trader Joe. I don't know if you have a Trader Joe's out in Cleveland, but
yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's a grocery chain. There was the hot guy working the ice, the milk cooler, who I sort of created this or developed this flirtation through the plastic slats of the cold freezer. We went on a disastrous date. And then yes, I went out with a masseuse, a hot guy from my acting class who did massage on the side. Lots of actors have some little, survival job on the side. Little did I know there would be a happy ending.
Women get them too.
Hey. Let's see. There was I went out with I don't want to say team of Argentinian soccer players, but there was two. There was the goalie and the forward, and I went out with both, and that was it's in the show. And then of course I go on this one.
Who was more forward, the forward or you?
Yeah, of course. Well, the one was quite protective, which I appreciated, but the other, of course, was especially aggressive, and women like that. And then, of course, the last of which was my I kind of call him the love of my life because that's what he sure seemed like he was at the time. But of course, it's my favorite part of the show. It's when the show goes from hilarious, like, misadventures dating in LA to this like screeching halt when all of a sudden we realize like this guy is bad news. He is, I might think he's the best thing that ever happened to me, but little do I know, I'm going to be waiting for him to wake up from a coma. Again, I don't want to ruin anything because hopefully one day people will be able to see this themselves. But actually, this particular character winds up in the next show as well. He's also in American Horror Story. There's an additional. He comes back around, and that's why I felt like I needed to reintroduce him. You'd think I'd be done after all that, but no.
Yeah.
There's more.
But wait, there's more. And then, who was Mark?
Oh, you mean Marcus? Oh, Mark. He's the guy I mentioned earlier. Remember when I mentioned the consummate cop and bailiff on TV?
Okay.
That's Marcus. We grew up doing, theater together in Denver. We went to college together at Northwestern, and we both moved out to LA around the same time. So for a while, we were next door neighbors. So yeah, in the show, I definitely, let's face it, I needed a way out of it. Like I needed an ending. And I didn't want my audience to like go home and kill themselves because good God, this woman like can't find love for the life of her. And so I needed to give some little, kernel of hope. And I think Marcus is that. Marcus is my best friend, my airport ride, my handyman, my neighbor, my counselor, he's my everything. He's my sort of all catch-all friend. And he still is to this day. But what he's not is my boyfriend. But I kind of, I definitely want to end with like a little bit of hope. Like like maybe love isn't that hard to find after all. Maybe it's right in front of you your whole time, all along.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, and
And then-
truly, I still feel that way. It doesn't get any better than Marcus.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, they say, the best relationships start as friends and stuff too, so.
Right. Yeah.
But so when Carnival Knowledge was filmed and finished, where is this in the timeline when like American Horror Story caught on for you?
So yeah, so that would have been in 2009 is when I first did that. It went on to Edinburgh, Scotland, which in 2010. And then in 2011, I took it to New York. And then in 2012, I got American Horror Story. So it had already had quite a life. Like I'd done, a good 3 years worth of performing it. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
And then, obviously the character Pepper has ended up taking off for you, but in this third one that I have yet to see, since it's called American Horror Story, I'm assuming this is after then or during.
Yeah, it's both.
Okay.
We see me. It's just a different side of me. I think. Yes, I have boyfriends throughout it, but it's not. It's more about my hustle. It's about my hustle. Becoming wanting to act and not having a whole lot of luck at it at first. And so, from the odd jobs I hold to to my even odder love life, it's just sort of my hustle in Hollywood. And so, yeah, we see, like I said, it starts as early as first grade. We meet like first grade Naomi, and then we see me throughout the process, like, how I came to become Pepper. And then the Pepper Mania, like I take you through that whole ride I was on, all the way almost to, present day. There's, the kind of the aftermath of it all. So it's a very fan-friendly show. Like it's a very you don't have to have seen American Horror Story or know Pepper at all, but it will be that much more fulfilling if you have.
Yeah. So, that opportunity came for you. Like you said, Pepper Mania has followed. It still does. I mean, is that, would you say that is what got you now doing some of the convention circuits?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can see just in this room behind me, there's yeah.
It's all like fan artwork and stuff too.
Yeah. It's
nice.
all, I mean, it's everywhere. But yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, that character just really took off, and that's what people want to, know about and hear about. Unfortunately, with the strike, I'm limited. Like, I can't even dress as Wednesday Addams for Halloween if I want to. Although I haven't been watching the news. Maybe they've come to some sort of an agreement. I doubt it. But I know they were going back to the bargaining tables today. But
yeah, we can use a little bit of good news out there.
I know, right? I think yeah, I mean, listen, the show is not about American Horror Story at all. It's really about me and my evolution, and me, becoming Pepper. So we get to see me pre-Pepper, becoming Pepper, then post-Pepper.
Can you talk a little bit about getting into that mindset for that character, or is that not?
Sure. I mean,
obviously that season was inspired by the old original Freaks, the black and white
Yeah, it was.
Cult classic out there.
I mean, obviously that character is I mean, every actor has their own process. And for me, I tend to be a very physical actor. I mean, you know that from just having seen my solo shows. Like
Yeah. Which I love it.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really make you feel a part of or something with it, I feel.
So I definitely, I really did my homework as far as watching Schlitzie, who was the real life microcephalic after whom that character was modeled. And I really kind of nailed his walk and talk and gait and, just the outside first. And then I went in and I worked with a coach and kind of developed an inside story, because let's face it, we all have an interior life. You happen to know more of mine now, having seen my show and having had this conversation. You have an interior life I don't know a whole lot about, other than, you're in Cleveland, and now I know you've got two daughters and they're in college and you're back in the dating world. So, but the point is, we all have an inner life, and it's not necessary that we know them. You know what I mean? Like, we can still go on to have a great conversation without me necessarily knowing your inner life, but you wouldn't be a full character if you didn't have that, right? So it was important, whether or not the audience was actually privy to what my inner life was, makes no difference. What's important is that I have one. Like, I need to know. Y'all don't necessarily.
Yeah. And that's to help you, portray the character so much better.
So you're not this flat, one-dimensional sort of parody.
It's not just shaving your head and then throwing a camera in front of you.
Right, exactly.
And that's, I think, why Peppermania took off so well too, because it's like you make people feel something, of whatever that, what that character was going through. It's like I felt, your story watching, Carnival Knowledge, and Carmen find her inner Carmen.
Yeah.
And when did the after Peppermania takes off, you're doing the what's your experience been like, I guess, on the convention circuit now since then?
That all sort of came about, right after Asylum, before Freak Show, and then of course after Freak Show it was like nonstop, full time. I want to say I went to like 44 Comic-Cons in 52 weeks in 2016.
Which was more your hustle there too, your hustle side.
My God, yeah. Big time. And I mean, it's slowed down a little bit since, but I mean, it's literally been like 11 years. So like, it should slow down. Like, in fact, the fact that I'm still doing that, like the fact that I can go out practically every weekend and it's amazing. I mean, I didn't know this. I didn't know conventions even existed. It's not something I would ever go to. So, but listen, I'm not mad at it. I'm very thankful to know that they do.
Yeah, me and my daughters are big fans. We hit a lot of the it used to be Wizard World that come through town, and in fact, on my wall over here, I got like pictures, me and my daughters with whatever actor we decided we wanted. That's our annual family photo, is going to these things and getting the group professional photo. It was during it was weird too, because it was during like kind of like a rough time in our relationship when me and their mother separated, where dad wasn't cool, but they had to be with me this week. And I'm like, well, we're going to go do this, and then it became like our thing. My girls totally love it. And it's like, we have to go all the time together. So it was those events are like huge for us. And it gave me the opportunity to get to meet you, which I'm happy to have done. I wish I would have sat down and talked with you more, but I got to know your story here, with these DVDs, which now, I mean, would you say that the convention circuit helps you promote this work a lot more?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm sure I mentioned to you when you picked those up that like those are my babies. Like I don't have real babies because I have those. Like that's we all have our priorities in life, and my career has been number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like having a family or even a relationship has been kind of far down there. Actually, I just saw it was like some little reel of Ali Wong. She said something like, people ask me, how do you handle your career and family? And she said, no one asks men that. She's like, because they don't. Meaning like men don't manage both. Like they manage one. And I kind of feel that way. Like I've always felt like, I don't think I can manage both. Like I think I can manage one, if that. And if I got to choose between the two, I'm going to choose career. And so I have no regrets about that. Like I really do believe I consider those my babies. They take 9 months to create, and they give and give. I don't have to change their diapers. They don't whine. I don't have to send them to put them through school. Like
they're actually making money for you. Yeah,
exactly. In a lot of ways, I feel like I won the lottery. But I would say it kind of hurts my heart how everybody wants a picture with Pepper, and those stupid pictures, they take they cost 20 cents at Kinko's. Like, whereas those DVDs, that's like my heart, that's my soul, my entire like being. Like I've just like ripped out my essence and like put it on a piece of plastic. And even then they create a whole lot more. They cost way more to make than any silly photo at Kinko's. But I love when people take interest in them, because that means they're taking interest in me. They're interested in like what I do, not with this machine with $1 million, more than $1 million, dollars behind it, but rather like, because like I said, with the exception of Richard and Bardo, who was the director for both of those shows, I did everything. Like I wrote, designed, I didn't actually hang the lights, but you know what I mean? Like I did everything. And so you're getting to see like me. Whereas when you say you love American Horror Story, like I love that. I do too. But like there's an entire like payroll of people who are responsible for that. Like this is something that only I can take ownership of. And so I take it personally and I appreciate it.
Well, like I was saying, watching these and the way of your acting and performing, showing your I mean the emotions, getting like you made me feel, it makes me feel, and like feel for you, feel I mean, you're telling your stories, I'm laughing, I'm getting aroused, I'm going through this whole like roller coaster with you. So I'm glad that I stopped at your table and picked these up to get to know you more. And I definitely will have to order the next one when it becomes available.
Well, I can tell you the dream is for this, because let's face it, the world has changed. Like once upon a time, you would never watch just a play on DVD, right? But nowadays we're streaming all kinds of things. 1 hour comedy specials are a thing, and everyone else has one. Why don't I? So my dream, of course, is to sell this most recent one, American Horror Story, as a 1 hour comedy special. I'd love to see it streaming on, you name it. And then while we're making a deal, why not sell Carnival Knowledge and Girl in Argentine Landscape too? That way people can see the full, trifecta, and you don't have to meet me at a Comic-Con. You don't have to pick up the DVD. I mean, let's face it, a lot of people don't even have DVD players anymore. So I'm just thankful that you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the dream. Like, I really want for the world to see these shows. At this point, you have to have either been in LA or Scotland or London or New York, or maybe I've come to your college, and that's the only way people have seen these shows, other than, of course, if they stop by the table and pick one up. But I'd like to change that. I want this out there.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about too, then, because for any fans that, well, actually, before I get to that, real quick too, so getting to see more of your acting and comedic side, I went to your YouTube channel and was checking out some of your skits on there, which I really enjoyed. Like, I don't know, I'm not trying to get people in trouble or anything, but the Burka Girls Gone Wild was really one I really enjoyed quite a bit. And then the 7 apples on top story, babysitting story. You were reading a story.
Oh, yeah.
Babysitting, reading a story. Yes. Really got into the 7 apples on top.
Yes,
really.
Yes.
Yeah, felt
that was
it motivated
Kim Cattrall, impersonation.
Yeah.
I worked for several years at the Groundlings Comedy Theater, which is a place here in LA. It's really just like this breeding ground for Saturday Night Live people. I mean, like, literally at one point, that's where they would just pluck them and send them to New York. And when I left there, I realized, oh, wait, just because I'm not performing every week on Melrose Avenue doesn't mean that, like, my comedy career has to stop. Like, if anything, this is just the beginning. Like, there's a thing called YouTube, and I can, just because people aren't sitting in a seat watching it there doesn't mean they can't sit home and watch it, in Cleveland. So, so that's where that was sort of born out of my own, frustration with having to leave that theater, and yet realizing, oh, this is just the beginning. Like, I don't have to perform there. I can perform wherever.
And I loved it. I mean, it was like, I definitely highly recommend people checking out your YouTube channel, because it's like I was telling you, I went down the rabbit hole and I was just watching one skit after the other. The TSA Touch My Junk was another good one. Teat the Parents was very tasty.
I think people just don't know that about me. They don't know that I have a funny bone at all. Because let's face it, American Horror Story isn't exactly a comedy. So,
no.
But, obviously I'm a writer and I mean, I'm not just a comedian. Like, I would never fancy myself a stand-up whatsoever, but clearly I have a ripe sense of humor.
Oh yeah. No, you definitely have a gift. I like I said, I really enjoyed going down that rabbit hole and seeing a whole nother side of you. And then so back to the DVDs before we get ready and wrap up. American Horror Story is still being worked on. I think I got an email about Happy Horrorween.
Oh, yeah, me. So yeah, no, American Horror Story it's done. I've produced it once here in LA. It's gonna reprise again in my hometown, which now you know is not really my hometown, but you know, Taos, New Mexico, over the holidays, and then shortly thereafter we'll be headed to New York off Broadway to do it there. So that's what's next for American Horror Story. Of course, you know, again, the dream is for a booker to come see it, you know, send it all over, and maybe it'll even come to Cleveland. From there, maybe come back to LA, shoot it, then maybe interest a streaming service so that, again, maybe then you don't even have to leave the house and go to your, you know, the Cleveland rep or whatever the you know, theater in town is, and you can just stream it on TV. You know, there's a million ways to skin this cat, and we'll be excited, you know, excited to see which way it goes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it and continue being a voyeur on your escapades and your journey.
Good. Yes, I appreciate it.
And then for the audience watching now that want to purchase, that they may still have a DVD player and want to purchase the DVDs or support you and see everything we're talking about, where would you send them?
Ooh, that's a great question. They're not easy to come by. You really do have to literally stop at my table. So you have to, like, you know, the stars have to align such that I am at the Comic-Con in your town, and they're not available just anywhere. And that's by design. We want to make it so that, you know, when we do approach these streamers, these shows are super exclusive. They're hard to get, hard to come by. I can tell you, if people Venmo me or you know, PayPal me or whatever, they can be gotten. I want to say, let me figure out if I can find this for you.
Well, I know you have a website.
I do have a website, but no, I can tell you right now, if people Venmo me at Naomi, that's Naomi dash Grossman, Grossman. If they Venmo me $45 for both, that includes shipping and include all the shipping information, I will send it to them. Or you can do PayPal, friends and family. My PayPal is at Naomi Grossman, all one word.
All right.
Those would be the only two real ways that I can think of for them to get it, short of, you know, happening to see me in the wild.
But if they want to try and catch you in the wild, they can go to your website and see, like, where you're going to be. Like, correct. You do post the like the conventions that you're going to be at and stuff like that on there, or?
Yeah, I don't have like a list of like upcoming, you know, appearances per se, but if they follow my socials, I'm at Naomi W. Grossman across all platforms. You'll see I always, you know, Facebook, tweet, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere I'm going to be before I go there. So yeah, it's not a mystery how and when and where to find me. And of course, on that same website, that naomigrossman.net, you can also check out the, well, actually, you can find the Girl in Argentine Landscape and Carnival Knowledge have their own little tabs there, but also American Horror Story. You can look up, in fact, it even has its own website, AmericanHorrorStory.com, and there you'll find not only upcoming dates, the dates in New Mexico and New York that I mentioned, but also we have some merch we've just released and all kinds of, you know, exciting developments. So yeah, it's not it's not a secret. I'm out there.
Nice. And then before we get ready to wrap up, I wanted to ask you just a couple questions I normally ask guests that I have on. you mentioned quite a few people that have influenced your journey, but who are 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
Lily Tomlin has always been sort of my touchstone. She's like who I always wanted to be when I grew up. You know, I already gave a shout out to my acting coach from Denver, Paul Rohr, and my bestie, Marcus Fulmar. So I feel like that's cheating to use them. You know, my mom and dad, I hate to, well, no, wait a minute. I mean, can my mom and dad both be a unit?
Yeah,
they're both, I mean, I kind of gave them a shout out earlier too, when I mentioned how kind of supportive they were of my career. They're both characters, in Carnival Knowledge, well, in both of them actually, for that matter, but they get a lot more, especially my mom gets a lot of airtime, or stage time, I should say, in American Horror Story. So more on them soon. And honestly, I'm going to say Carmen Mercedes. Carmen Mercedes is absolutely, I mean, thank God I followed my bliss. I went to Argentina, let my freak flag fly, gave that first blowjob. Like, that's clearly what I needed to do at the time, and I think it's informed my life ever since.
And what a wonderful thing, because like I said, I've enjoyed the skits. You're definitely very open about your sexual side, which is beautiful, because people you know, I don't know, people get nervous talking about it, but we're all adults here. So I love the fun that you make it, you know, in your story and in your skits on YouTube.
Yeah, I've definitely, people have said, oh, you're so, you know, sex positive or whatever. I guess that's the term for it. But I didn't even know that was a thing until people say I'm a feminist, but I'm like, am I? I'm going to do me without any regard as to how it affects men. Like, I really don't care. And if that makes me a feminist, then I'm a feminist. I'm just me, you know.
The hustle's paying off, you know.
Oh.
So it's definitely empowering, I'm sure, for, you know, men and women that are just like, you know, I was raised in like a Catholic home, and, you know, had a lot of the religion put on me at a young age, and, you know, so it's just like I had to go through that whole shame and guilt when I went off into the Navy, and then, you know, started flying my freak flag, you know.
Right.
And you know, then now I finally like shed all that, and I'm ready to take the flag back out there, just not on these damn apps.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm telling you, I was on the apps for a minute, and it's not for me. So just because that's what people are doing doesn't mean you have to do it. That's what I've learned. No.
The more I'm learning to, you know, be in a place where it's like I'm taking care of myself and I'm loving myself and I'm accepting myself. Took me a little bit longer, I guess, you know, but better late than never. But
Sure.
you know, I'm set in my ways, you know, now, and like my daughters are grown. I raised 2 young women. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit their mother's role. You know, she played a big part just because we're not together anymore. But you know, I learned a lot about myself. They taught me a lot about myself too, and how to be, you know, a better man, which I try to do every day, you know, and more of a better appreciation for women. And when I see like inspirations like you that are out there just doing you and being, you know, being your boss, you know, your own boss, you know, it encourages me, you know, for my daughters to go do the same, you know.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I've been hired to take these shows, the two shows that we're talking about that you've seen, to colleges. And, I'm like, why? Like they aren't particularly educational. Like what am I teaching anyone? But I think I am a role model in a way. Like the people
No,
who
I
are
agree.
are invariably women's studies departments, and who, yeah, that's the message they're trying to send to women is like, you can just follow, you can do your thing,
Yeah,
do you.
exactly. And I'm even, as a man, I'm finally learning just to do me now. It's like my family members. Oh, are you gonna get married again? I'm like, I don't know. Why? So like
Yeah.
I'm going to shows when I want. I'm going to conventions when I want. I have to, check in with anybody. And if I meet somebody along the way, I don't know, what would the opposite of whack-a-weenie be from a man's perspective.
I don't think it's safe for YouTube or
Yeah.
wherever this is. No, I think yeah, I mean,
Trying on different hats, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, my mom, again, I'm not trying to ruin anything, but because it's all in the third show, but boy, I mean, my parents got divorced after 44 years of marriage, and yeah, I think my parents felt that people would ask the same thing of my mom, like, you're 75 years old. Why would you want to get want a divorce? And it's like, because I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm enjoying being able to go to concerts whenever I want, or not make dinner if I don't want to, or whatever. Like imagine the 75-year-old female equivalent to what you're describing.
Yeah.
It's like she realizes, like, oh, I don't have to do that. I can live my life for me. So yeah, like I said, I'm at an age where my friends are all divorcing right now. And I feel like, wow, again, I won the lottery. Like I don't have to do all that. Like we're all right back to square one, the single square. But we, I don't have, the alimony or the child support or the this or the that. Like I don't have the babysitters or the college fund or all the other drama that my friends are having to deal with. So I don't know, but
No, it's yeah. I'm like I said, it's like a lot of people I see that have done that what I guess was expected of them. When I occasionally do hang out with them, a lot of them don't seem really as happy as they portray on social media.
Oh,
That's all I know. And
of
when I'm
course.
like, hey, you want to go check this out with me? Can't, like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. If this is if this is the life for me, then I'm down with that.
Yeah, I think so.
And then any causes or organizations that you support and encourage others to check out?
I don't have any one axe to grind. I did I was Emmy nominated for a show called Control Alt Delete that was pro-choice agenda. But it's not my agenda. Like I happen to lean that way, but it's not, I don't have an axe to grind really here. So,
Gotcha.
I tend to, if I was asked to do a project that was, I don't know, super, I don't know, like completely against my belief system, I'm that might be I might think twice about doing it. But like I said, I don't have like this one cause. I'm not like the Linda Blair who's like, crazy for animals, or it's not to say that I don't love animals, but it's not my thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah.
And then, do you recall favorite toy as a child?
Um, I mean, I would say my favorite. I remember there was a birthday present. It was just a big box of costumes. It was just, grandma had gone through and put in, hats and boas and, just hand-me-downs from my great grandma, or, just stuff that
Wardrobe for your stage show.
wardrobe. And quite
Yeah.
honestly, to this day, I'm just showing you the pepper art. What I'm not showing you is the entire other side of the room that is wardrobe. I'm literally like a hoarder when it comes to wardrobe. I'm meticulously clean. I'm a complete Marie Kondo when it comes to everything else in my life. Like literally nothing sparks joy other than, of course, my fan art. But when it comes to clothes, I have a bona fide problem. But it's not really a problem when that's your business. Like I can literally justify it because, every day I'm like playing a role and like, what am I going to be today? So
Exactly.
I actually just got a call back. Notification popped up in my screen saying that I got a call back to play a ski bunny tomorrow. So I'm thankful for that wardrobe because I got to go back and, I got to go find a parka and some snow pants.
There you go. And then, any message for our military members currently serving overseas?
Get out of there. I don't know. I don't know. Better you and not me. I would not. That's not a path that I would want to take, and so I'm very grateful that others do, so I don't have to. I would. Yeah, I mean the world is super crazy right now, and I would not want to be on those front lines of the places where they are, and so I would just say be careful and God bless you.
Gotcha. Thanks. Well, Naomi, thank you so much for the time, and it's been great getting to know you more. And hopefully you make it back through Cleveland. Maybe I could take you out for a coffee or something. And then if before you get ready and log off, if you wouldn't mind doing one last favor for me, if you could mind cutting a promo ID for the show, just introduce yourself and you're watching today's Boondoggle.
Okay, just my name and yeah. Okay, right now?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Naomi Grossman. You know me as Pepper from American Horror Story, and you're watching today's Boondoggle.
Awesome. Like a consummate professional.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Hope that was okay.
yeah, that was good. And like I said, we got each other's contact information, so maybe after if the negotiating table and all that gets cleared up, we can have you back for a part 2.
Yeah, that's true. And